show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Timo, aka Tina from Nuts About Candles. How is everybody doing this evening? Can you all hear me? Can you all see me? Let me know in the chat. For those that are in the chat, I hope that everybody had an amazing week. And we are back. We are doing part 2 of customer service. We had a lot of fun with that last week, so we're back again to talk about it a little bit more this week. But of course, before I do, I wanted to make sure that I send some shout outs and say hello to some people. If you are following me on Instagram, thank you for being in the live. Of course, you won't be able to see the comments. Everybody that's on YouTube will be able to see and participate in the comments. I wanted to send some birthday shout outs from some of our moderators, of course, and also to some of our family support. First one is happy birthday, Hayden. Enjoy your special day today. And also to her sister Harper, who are listening in from North Carolina. And happy birthday to one of our guests of the show, Mr. Marcus, down in Texas. I hope that you enjoyed your special day yesterday, my friend. And I wanted to make sure that I acknowledged them and said happy birthday to those that are celebrating a birthday this week. All right, if this individual is in the building yet, can you tell me if you are in the comments? Then that would be the Chandler's Rose. And she is quite welcome, Courtney. All right, let's see if the Chandler's Rose is in the building. And I'm sure she'll let me know when she gets in here. But until she comes in, we will do a quick recap. And first of all, for those of you, and there she is checking in. Hello, Miss Rose. I hope you had an amazing week. So we're going to continue part 2 of your topic. But before I do that, let's get all the YouTube stuff out of the way and go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And I am your host, Tina. And I am the owner and founder of a company called Nuts About Candles, and I specialize in non-traditional candles. But on YouTube, I am known as Miss Bubbles and Flames. So if you can go ahead and like the video, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that button. We got a lot of good stuff coming. This is episode number 20. It is part 2 of our customer service discussion. And I know I had a long title this week, but I had a little bit of fun with it. And is the customer always right? I don't know. Let's talk about it. So here we go. Miss Rose, did you take anything with you for last week? Did anybody out there in social media land have any situations that we talked about last week? And last week we talked about being able to provide general customer service. A lot of times we have those customers that, for some reason they just want to try to get free stuff, right? This applies to all small business and just business owners in general. Doesn't necessarily just mean candle soap makers and of course our body oil product makers, excuse me. All right, so let's continue with that conversation. I hope that you all got something from that. Of course, jump down in the comments and also after the show if you have any questions for me. I do read the comments and try to answer them back as soon as I can. Or if you have something that you want to talk about, go ahead and write it in the comments below. If you're following us on TikTok, welcome. I'm also thinking about extending this podcast over and doing a TikTok live version coming real soon. All right, so if you're watching from TikTok, I appreciate you jumping over to YouTube, and of course, shout out to Instagram. So to pick up from last week, we talked about customer service and how it is especially important if you are a business owner, and especially a small business owner, because losing a customer could affect your pockets, right? We talked about different ways to provide excellent customer service. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch episode 19. And tonight we're going to talk about what if you have a situation that the customer is not always right, regardless of what they say. How do you handle that? I actually laughed. Hey, Casey. Ugh, I was getting ready to say Kiko. Hey, Keisha, how are you from My Kiko Candle Company? Joining us and jumping in on a really good subject. Of course, I'm glad you're in the house tonight. All right, so let's jump in and talk about our customers that it just seems like no matter what we do, they're always going to fight us on it, right? All right. And Rose said, thankfully, her customers have been paying attention to her post. And also, what Rose means by that is, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, are the policies. What about if you have policies in place and you have a customer that just does not want to cooperate, right? All right, so let's jump right into it. The customer is not always right, or are they? How to handle unreasonable customers and still provide excellent customer service. So those of you that are new to me, I always cheat when I do my research. I always look up my and do my notes. And sorry, I'm getting tongue tied tonight, but let's see if I can get it worked out. All right. First thing, and I need to take my own advice because I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite topics ever, and I get so excited about it. But the first thing you need to do is stay calm. How many of you have experienced this when you yourself have been that angry person, or you're dealing with a customer that has been very angry about whatever, and you're going, right? And the person on the other end is just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Even though that's irritating to us because we want to get our point across, they're doing their job in most cases. Or usually when we're upset, more than likely we just want to be heard, right? And Jayla, what's the thing that you always say about people that are upset, yelling and screaming? She don't have time for that. And that's the mindset of most of the people that are on the other end when we are talking about customer service. They have to stay calm. And the one that is calm is the one that maintains control of the situation. And by the way, that's a learned behavior. There are many of us who still want to explode, but we've been in situations. And remember what I said last week, no matter how mad you get or upset you get, always remain professional at all times, right? So if you stay calm, they're arguing with themselves, they're yelling at themselves, even though you hear them, you're not acknowledging them. It's just like how we do with our kids when they're yelling and screaming and they're throwing temper tantrums and we're the calm one. I'm not trying to hear that. All right, listen. While they're upset, listen to the customer and listen to what it is that's actually making them angry. And 9 times out of 10, this is just me personally, when I call places and I'm upset, I always let them know I'm not upset with you unless I really am. But this is my issue. And generally, when you approach it that way, you'll get a better response than yelling and screaming at someone, because put yourself in their shoes. 9 times out of 10, they're upset about something A that is minor, or B that you can't control, right? In most cases. All right, so always remember that. Remain calm and stay professional, and then listen to your customer. And here's one you all may not agree with me on, but because you are the business owner for this scenario, go ahead and apologize. Whether you mean it or not, just go ahead and apologize and get it over with, because typically that's what they're looking for. Even if you don't think you're at fault, if you go ahead and apologize, that generally will calm them down. And then the next thing, they'll be receptive when you offer a solution. Is it that they want a replacement product? Is it that they want a refund? And that's where what Rose said last week is important. What are your policies? And make sure your policies are listed on your website, or if you are a business that provides a service and you have a contract in place, make sure that they have signed that so that when you reference it, I didn't sign that. Well, here's your signature right here. All right. And Jayla says apologies go a long way. And she is absolutely correct. All right. So this applies to all types of businesses, that when you are dealing with someone on a professional level, you always have to be in control of the situation. And Jayla said, if you can't be professional, you should not, all caps. So she is yelling that one, be running a business. And Jayla, I couldn't agree with you more. And Courtney says, I totally agree, Jayla. All right. And also, here's something else. Be persistent. Be persistent on what? Calming them down. Because again, if you are yelling and you're matching their yelling, you're just like two bulls fighting it out, right? You're just like two bulls fighting it out, and nobody is going to get anywhere. And what's going to happen to you is you're going to end up losing a customer. Now, how you can offer compromises is, well, my policy says this. However, this is what I'm willing to do. And what you can be thinking of while that person is yelling in your ear, while you're remaining calm and professional, be thinking in your mind, this is what I'm going to do for them. Option A, B, or C. Because you notice when you call a lot of these big for corporations, I was going to say Fortune 500, but they don't have to be a Fortune 500. What does the customer service manager always say to you? Miss Baxter, since I'm looking at Jayla's comment right now, here's what I'm going to do for you, right? And they've already got in their mind A, B, and C, what they're going to do. So if you don't take option A, they're going to go to B. If you don't take A or B, they're going to go to C. But that person remains in control of the relationship. So last week, Rose talked about customers who don't follow policies. Now, I was talking with a friend of mine earlier today, and he made good sense. You're going to have some people, if you're running a sale or an ad, who just come and just, that's all they want to do. They just want to try your products out. They're trying to get something for free. Unfortunately, we're all going to run into that, right? Especially if you do giveaways or something like that. I'll tell you all about a giveaway story that is true, that happened to me when I first got into business. So shout out to Fred for suggesting that. I don't know if he jumped on or not, but shout out to you for bringing that up in the conversation. So, here are some of the things that you can do for providing excellent customer service. So, we already talked about remain calm. Most people count to 10. You're thinking about what you're going to do with this situation, what you're going to offer them, how you're going to refer to your policies, or are you willing to bend a little bit, right? All right. Second thing is, or third thing, excuse me, because professional, be calm. How about be friendly and helpful? Again, Ms. Baxter, this is what I'm going to do for you. And normally we don't do this for our customers, but since you are so interested in trying out our product, we're sorry you had this experience. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to replace whatever said product is or service, give them a discount or whatever the case may be. It just depends whether you have a service-based business, a product business. It just depends on what the situation is. And then you can also, Rose, as she so eloquently does, gently remind them of your policy in the future. Because also, what do customer service managers say? We're going to make the exception this time. So that's a gentle way to let you know we're not going to do this in the future, and we will make note. And if you're not making notes, go ahead and start taking notes of your customers. All right. There are a lot of I guess they're called CMRs, and correct me if I'm, excuse me, CRMs, customer relationship management software, I think it is. Don't quote me on that. But Jayla just brought up the next point. Don't take someone's anger personal. We get so emotional about our products, and it's okay to do that. But two people can be right at the same time and coexist. Again, I agree with her. All right. How about be knowledgeable? All right, so that's another tip. Be knowledgeable. Make sure that you know about the products or services that you're talking about and selling. This will help answer customer questions and resolve issues. So if you're trying out something new, right? If you're trying out something new and you knew when you put it out there, you weren't sure how it's going to go over, but it's like, oh, okay, I won't do that again, right? Just offer to replace the product, of course, within reason. Don't send them your most expensive product, but a lot of times that will solve the customer issue, and you never know. You've gained a customer for life from that, because a lot of customers, as Jayla just said, they're not angry at you, they're just angry about the situation because of the excitement that they have in receiving your product or service, whatever the case may be. All right. Next thing, how about be proactive? Don't wait for them to finish blowing up, or don't wait for them to ask you for something. You offer it to them. Again, Ms. Baxter, I'm going to go ahead and I'm typing it up now as you were talking. I'm going to send you a replacement of said product, and it should arrive to you, blah, 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 and it's free of charge. We are sorry for the inconvenience that you have experienced. That's going to shut her all the way down before she even had a chance to ask you. Again, your remaining control of that situation. Because how many of you have had customers that order the least expensive product and they're hoping that if they complain about it, that they're going to get your most expensive product, right? You know, he who yells the loudest wins is typically what happens, right? Not in the world of small business. All right. Typically, a lot of us are not in situations that we could do that. If you are, that's great. But be careful when you do that, because then they'll expect that every time. And again, when you offer customer service, make it excellent, make it great. The little things. How are you today? How's your day going? Whether you care or not, they're good icebreakers. And if you're consistent with it, it becomes second nature to you. A lot of times people don't have someone ask them, how is your day going today? That means a lot. And then, even though they were upset, make sure that you end the call or the contact on a positive note. Again, I apologize. I hope that you'll come back and shop with us again. Is there anything else that I can do for you today? And a lot of people hold their breath when they say that to you because they don't really mean it. But again, if you're sincere in what you're asking them, that energy is going to transfer over. Wow, she really cared how I felt about that. All right. So those are some simple things. And the last one was be positive, but I just rolled that into the example. And a lot of times when we practice what we preach, it becomes second nature. And here's another trick for customer service when I used to work on the help desk. All right, put a mirror in front of your desk, or either turn your mirror on your phone. If you don't know, there's an app that's free for that. So that way you can see what you look like as you are talking to the customer, whether they can see you or not. Because a lot of times, if you are smiling, that's going to convey in your energy over to your customer. They're going to feel that you are sincere in wanting to help them. And especially if it is your product in your business, you want that customer to be happy. You want them to say, you know what? My candle was horrible, but she absolutely replaced it. I didn't even have to ask her. She sent it out as soon as I let her know, and I'm going to buy from them again. All right, because we all make mistakes. We all have issues with our products at one time or another, because when you are using supplies from someone else, is this not true? You can't control the quality of their product. Maybe they had a defective product, right? All right. Jayla again says, this is so true. I love when people are happy after they come to me for an issue and I resolve it. Absolutely. So here is my story. And this is a true story. I was not making candles then. I was selling for a direct sales company. And somebody told me they had the bright idea to do a giveaway, right? We all love giveaways. So in this situation, I had a set of six mini martini glasses. It's a really cute little set. The value was about $10 for me. That's what my cost was. Not even $10. It was $10 with shipping. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is a popular set. I'll do a giveaway on it. So did all the this is when social media first started, did all of that, had my winner, and I had my tracking, right? You know, we all keep that tracking. So says it was delivered. Well, guess what? She said she didn't get it, right? And of course, I was very angry about it because I didn't think to put a signature required on it because most people are like, okay, I got my product. Well, in this case, she got her product. I did not have the signature required, and I had a couple options. I could have filed a police report and went through all of that at my cost also to me. So I would have had to pay for the cost of the product as well as the cost of the police report. So guess what I did? Even though I didn't agree with it, I had to rebuy that set because I only had one, send it to her again. Of course, I had to pay for it again. But what did I do this time? What did I learn from that situation? You got it. Signature required. So I made sure that there was a signature required and lesson learned. So when I do giveaways now, I always follow up with the person. And of course, we're several years later now. That's been 11, 12 years ago now. I've learned that what I ask, and when you win something, I just ask that you take pictures. That lets me know that you got it, even though I'm tracking it, and what your feedback is about the product. All right. So that's a suggestion for now for giveaways. And yes, we have another one coming soon for this channel. All right. Some of the things that you could do because a lesson was learned. Hi, Abba. Good evening to you, and thanks for joining as always. So, how about what are some of the experience that you all have had with customers in a negative way and you turned it around? Because unfortunately, as my friend said earlier, and shout out to Fred again on that one, is you're going to have people that no matter what you do, it's always going to be something, right? So, as a business owner, and especially with all of these reviews that you have out there now, you don't want that negative press on your business unless you feel like you, as Jayla says, and sometimes on her post, she wants the violence that day. So that's not what I recommend. But there are some people who, it no matter what you do, it's just going to be like you can't satisfy them. All right. And Rose, I'm going to start with you down in the comments since this was your topic. How do you feel as small business owners that we can improve customer service? Because customer service is always something that you can improve. What do you think about that? And while she's typing in the comments, how about you, Abba, Jayla, Courtney, Robert, if you're on, and anybody out there in Instagram and TikTok land? What are some of the, and put it in the comments below for me, what are some of the experience that you have experienced, or do you have a situation that you want some advice on? Put that down in the comments for me. All right. So for me, since I've been making my own candles, I try to do the best that I can to test them. But this is the vein of every candle maker. And I'll jump to my soap makers here in a second. Wicking, 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 right? Sometimes it can be a beast. Even if you test until you have run out of product to test, it just might not be your lucky candle. And that still happens to me now. Does that happen to any of you? Or if you're not a candle or soap maker, do you just have a product that you do your best, but like I said, you can't control the quality of other people's products if you're buying from others and they have a component? Sometimes things just don't work out for us, right? And we end up having to replace the product. So, what are some ways that you can get around that, even though customers don't read them? One thing that I do is on the back of my business card, there are candle care instructions. And also, I put in a candle care card separate, and I put a thank you card in as well. I try to put in as much information inside the box that I can, or their bag if they're live, so that they have more information than they care to read, because some people really do read that information. All right, and now Rose is ready for me. She said 2 ways to make sure that for customer service improvement, make sure that our pages have very clear and concise information on the website and the invoice. That's a good one, Rose. Absolutely. She also says on a second point, make sure that her disclaimers, or our disclaimers in this case, are repeated on all of my platforms. And I agree with that also. Rose is one of our master blenders that is on here, and that is her business. She is in the business of fragrance blending and soap. So she makes sure, and she always prides herself on top level customer service. And she does. What she does when you deal with her on her website or on her social media, it is all over, as well as in her group. She gives us some different suggestions about things, and if she gives us ideas on blends, again, she is sharing the information, but she is not responsible for the outcome because you can't control adults. So she gives the suggestions. So Rose, I love it and I appreciate it. All right, how about anybody else? All right, customer service can be your best friend or your worst nightmare, right? How many of you have and Courtney, thank you for reminding me and sending me the message. Clavico was the one that I couldn't think of for Shopify. Clavico, I said, judge me. You have Google reviews, you have Trustpilot reviews, because everybody is into reviews, right? Everybody wants reviews. So that is something that we need to definitely make sure that we always stay positive, right? And how many of you actually ask for reviews? A lot of people, even though we put it, hey, we'll give you a discount if you give us a review, whatever the case may be, how many of you actually ask for them? That's a good way for you to follow up with your customers after they've placed an order. Most of us have the automated emails that go out after so many days or hours to request the feedback and to make sure that the customer has, to see if they have any questions, or to make sure that everything was good. And they also get a discount to come back and shop with you again. All right, for my soap makers that are out there, how many of you have, just a perfect blend? It smells amazing, and then your soap seizes or rises. And Rose, let me know if I say that wrong. I'm still learning my soap terms. But how many of you have had that happen to you with a wholesale order? So you've had to contact the customer and let them know, hey, I need to remake your order. It's going to be a little bit longer. What do you do in those situations for those of you that do private label and wholesale? So after you have your mini meltdown, right? After you have your mini meltdown, and we allow you to have the pity party, but just for a few minutes because you got to get right back to work, right? All right, so keep that in mind. If you have a situation to where you've got to get in touch with the customer, do it immediately. Even if you send them an email and then you follow up the next day, because you never know. They may be waiting on the order from you, but they might also have customers that are waiting as well. You never know what's on the other end of your order, especially if it's for a wedding or for something like that. All right. And here's a good suggestion from Rose. I always soak a 2-pound batch, especially prior to making the wholesale order. All right. And for me, I typically do that as well. If I have candles, I always make extras, because you can guarantee that there's always going to be at least one that is not going to cooperate for whatever reason, whether your wick is off center or whatever the case may be. All right. So those are some of the things that I'm sure those that offer wholesale, you've got backup plan A, B, and C, right? That you're going to do if you have a situation that everything, you never know, right? And we're human, we're allowed to make mistakes. So we want to make sure that we have a follow-up, all right? Because we don't want to lose that customer. Let me make sure I got all of the comments here. All right. Does anybody else, Abba, Courtney, anybody have anything that they do special for their customers? Follow up is a good one too, because customers love follow up, whether they respond or not. You never know. They see it, but they just may not respond. And a lot of people like that. They may not, like I said, respond, but they do remember. And customers always remember the excellent customer service. All right, let's see here. Make sure I got everybody. All right, and it looks like it. All right. Does anybody have anything that they want to add to the discussion? I was trying to keep this short and sweet and keep it quick. All right. Does anybody else have anything to add to the discussion? So let's do a quick overview. If you have a difficult customer that does not cooperate, what's the very first thing that you're going to do? Stay calm. Always. You stay calm, whether they're screaming in your ear or not. Stay calm. Stay professional, be proactive as much as you can. Again, while they are saying whatever they have to say, be thinking in your mind of what it is that you're going to offer them. And then make sure that you apologize for any inconvenience that they have incurred. Because again, you don't know what is on the other end for that customer, especially if it's a wholesale order, right? And then you want to listen to your customer. What are they seeking from you? Do they want a resolution? Do they want to vent? Do they want both? What's really going on with them? All right. And then offer a solution and be persistent with your solution and come to some sort of agreement. All right. And don't forget to reference your policies. Miss Rose, I'm going to do this for you this time because I understand blah, blah, blah happened, but our policy is, okay? All right. Let me read some comments to you all here. Rose said, I did have a delay in an order due to being shipped the wrong butters. I notified the customer and she asked me to make her a sample box with the wrong butters. I got $1,000 order by keeping her in the loop. See, you never know. You never know. All right. And Courtney says, for me, she's not sure if I said this, but be available because questions aren't always immediate. Absolutely. I definitely agree with that because a lot of people don't think about something until you are off the phone, off email, social media, or whatever way that they're communicating with you. And Rose says she agrees with Courtney. All right. So, since I have you all here, what are some of the things that you all run into or have run into with your products? Supplier issues. One thing that I was thinking about doing, and you can let me know in the comments below how you want to handle this, or if it's something you even want to talk about. Who are some of your favorite suppliers? I've been hanging out on TikTok a lot lately and I have learned so much over there. There's like a whole nother world that's over there on TikTok. So shout out to those that are following me from TikTok. I've gained a whole new audience. And speaking of which, I am going to be taking the podcast over to TikTok. I just have not decided on what day of the week yet, but there's a whole new world over there. All right. And shout out to those that are watching me on Instagram and in our Facebook community. If you are not on TikTok, have you thought about getting on TikTok? Because there's a lot of people over there. I have people following me from Dubai, from Australia, from Mexico, from Brazil. I was like, wow, the love is real. All right. So you never know. You might be missing out over there. And what do you all think about talking about TikTok shops? That seems to be the hot new thing. And if so, how many of you have them? And I'll tell you what happened with my shop. That was one of the things that I wanted to talk with you all about because that's a hot topic right now. And it seems to be something that is kicking off, opening and having a TikTok shop. All right, so we can talk about that. Courtney shared one of her favorite suppliers is Midwest. All right, so Midwest is a popular one. They have amazing fragrances. And if you haven't checked them out, in this video or live stream is not sponsored by them, but I always like to give love to our suppliers. So go ahead and check them out. And how many of you that are watching me or watching the replay, and thank you for doing that, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. How many of you think about things later after you listen to the podcast or you go back and you listen to the podcast? Because I appreciate the people that watch the podcast later on replay, because, of course, I see the numbers, but I'm like, wow, people really watch it. So when you are watching, don't forget to put in the comments if you have a topic that you would like to discuss. Of course, Abba, I'm not going to forget about Mika. I always do her last, because she is one of my main suppliers for me. That's where I get my wax from. And also, let's give a shout out to Johanna from Porter Candle Supply. Happy belated birthday. And also to Candle Cocoon. So those are given to us from Abba. If you are a supplier, by the way, and or you would like to be on the podcast, just shoot me a message either on TikTok, Instagram. You can send it to me via email. I would love to have you on the show. And speaking of which, one thing that I do want to do is we've talked about a lot of candle topics. I want to turn it over to the soap makers and start talking about some of the topics that are important to soap makers. So if you all could do me a huge favor, because I am not a soap maker, I'm still on the verge of trying melt and pour. If you could let me know some of the topics that you all would like to discuss and some of the challenges that you all face in soap making. I do have some soap makers that are moderators as well, and they are more than willing to help if you have any questions. Or also, like I said, if you want to be featured on the show, just contact me and we will make that happen. All right. Pretty much that's it. I tried to keep it short and sweet because I typically keep you all an hour every week. So I wanted to make this short and sweet. If you have an event coming up, definitely give us the feedback. Or if you are featured or win some sort of awards and you want me to announce it, because everybody deserves their flowers while they are here. I've had two of my mods that have been featured for various things. Jayla got an award a couple weeks ago, a couple Saturdays ago, for her work in the community. And also Rob, who is from the Dapper Guru, he was actually featured on Miss Midwest by our by that supplier, excuse me. So those are big things as well. So definitely want to keep the podcast growing. So please share it amongst the community. Love to have some more guests on the show. Unless you all just want to hear me talk every week, that's possible too. But with that, let me look at my comments for a second to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. And Miss Keisha from My Kiko, thank you for making it in, because I know Wednesdays are tough for you. All right. And as a matter of fact, Keisha, send me a message after the podcast. I do need to talk to you about a couple things. Nothing bad, so you're not in trouble. All right. Can anybody think of anything else? And again, Jayla and Robert, congratulations on your accomplishments. And happy birthday to anybody celebrating a birthday or anything that's going on this week. If you have an event in the next coming week or this weekend, I wish you a sellout, because Juneteenth, I know a lot of you are participating in Juneteenth this weekend. My event, I don't have anything to report because my event was canceled due to rain. It's actually raining here now in the Atlanta area. All right, so one last time, down in my comments, do you all have anything else that you all want to discuss for tonight? All right, and again, while I'm doing my closing, everybody that is following me on Instagram, I appreciate you. And can you all please go follow Bubbles with a Z and Flames with a Z podcast over on Instagram. I am taking off a lot of the podcast stuff from my Nuts About Candles. It was taken over, and I need to get back to the business of candles. All right, let's see. Abba has a Juneteenth on Saturday, and Abba wishing you a sellout. Oh, good question from Keisha. To our soap makers, do any of you make soap for pets? All right, and we do have some soap makers that make things for pets. All All right, because that is a big, big thing now. Also, before I forget, if you are a body or beauty product maker, and what do I mean by that? If you have a small business, and I don't necessarily mean makeup, I mean like body butters, body oils, serums, anything that is in the world of body, and you have some topics that you want to talk about, I want to incorporate your topics into the podcast. Why? Because a lot of candle and soap makers are dibbling and dabbling in the world of body products. All right. So I definitely want to incorporate you all into the show. All right. So it is 8:43 my time, Eastern time. I'm going to give you all a few minutes back in your day. And as always, I appreciate you all for watching me, and we will see you next week. And yes, Abba, I know you are one of the reasons I'm adding body to this podcast. All right. So definitely, Abba, shoot me a message about the topics that you would like to see. All right. And everybody else have an amazing week. And I will see you here next week. I don't know what the topic's going to be yet because I'm going to let you all decide. So you'll see a poll coming out with the topics that I've been given, and let's see if we can make one of them happen. All right. But until then, have an amazing week and wishing peace and abundance to everybody until we meet again next week. All right. Take care and have a good night.